Right then, folks, if you're a MotoGP fan, don't scroll past this. I'm about to reveal the secrets behind Marc Marquez's 2025 World Championship triumph. And who's spilling the beans? None other than MotoGP legend Casey Stoner himself. Stick around till the end, because there's some brilliant insight that rarely gets discussed. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future MotoGP content. Casey Stoner, the Australian rider who retired early in 2012 at just 27 years old, has a unique perspective on Marquez's dominance. Interestingly, Stoner and Marquez never actually raced together. Marquez replaced Stoner at Repsol Honda. So this is pure analysis from the outside, but Stoner's eye is absolutely spot on. According to Stoner, the key to Marquez's victory boils down to two things: racecraft and how he builds his racing strategy. Sounds simple? Hold on, there's a deeper layer to this. Stoner puts it like this: there are plenty of fast riders on the grid now, but they don't maximize their racecraft. They see Marquez as the final boss who can't be beaten, to the point where they forget to develop specific strategies against him. Yet Stoner acknowledges that Marquez had weaknesses in the past that no one noticed or could exploit. Unfortunately, Stoner isn't willing to reveal what those weaknesses were. Intriguing, isn't it? What makes Marquez even more lethal now is the 6-year gap between his 2019 and 2025 World Championship titles, the longest gap in MotoGP history for a defending champion. But it's precisely that dark period that sharpened Marquez's mental game, making him stronger, cleverer, and more patient. Just imagine, Stoner's entire MotoGP career lasted only as long as Marquez's dry spell. It means Marquez underwent a complete transformation over that extended period. Now Marquez isn't just a rider who wins through raw speed and reckless risk-taking. He plays strategy. Each weekend, he pulls out a different card. But there's one consistent pattern throughout 2025 that Stoner reckons people have overlooked: Marquez's patience with tires. This is the first key that Stoner revealed. Marquez is now incredibly patient with his tires. He understands how to nurse them early in the race so he can push flat out at the end. Stoner compares Marquez's approach to Max Verstappen in Formula 1. When Verstappen comes out of the pits, he doesn't immediately hammer it. He gives it a few laps to get acquainted with the fresh rubber, and as a result, he's got stronger pace 10 to 15 laps later. Marquez uses the same philosophy. Early in the race, Marquez is far gentler with his tires than other riders. He doesn't force corner speed. Instead, he picks the bike up earlier and exits corners more smoothly. The result? His tires aren't stressed. They don't slide and spin excessively. When the race enters the final laps and tire grip starts dropping off, Marquez's tires still have reserves that other riders don't. That's why he's often strong at the end of races, especially in the second half of the 2025 season. The second key Stoner mentions is how Marquez handles the bike's electronics. This is particularly interesting because Stoner himself was known as a rider who didn't rely heavily on electronics. He says electronics always have a delay. They only react after grip is lost, not before. Clever riders, according to Stoner, can ride in front of the electronics. What does that mean? They can feel the level of grip and react faster than the electronic systems. Electronics are always late because they can't predict. They can only react. If a rider can stay ahead of the electronics, they'll be quicker. Marquez is a master at this. By not putting excessive pressure on the tires early in the race, the electronics don't have to work hard. When the electronics finally need to intervene in the closing laps as tire grip deteriorates, Marquez's tires still have a higher level of grip than the others because he's been gentle from the start. This gives him an advantage that other riders simply can't match. Stoner himself admits he's proud of his ability to ride without relying too heavily on electronics. He always sought out the grip level and rode ahead of the electronics. That's why he can spot the same quality in Marquez's style. This isn't just about speed, it's about sensitivity to the bike and tires. In the second half of the 2025 season, this pattern became increasingly clear. Marquez appeared patient early on, sometimes even looking slow. But once the race entered its critical phase, he flicked the switch and pushed hard. People were baffled. How could Marquez suddenly be so fast, when in reality it was all down to brilliant tire management early on? Stoner says Marquez now listens to the bike and tires better. He knows when to push, when to be patient. He runs lower corner speeds, picks up the bike earlier, drives out of corners more confidently without making the tires slide and spin under stress. He stays on a line slightly ahead of the electronics, and that's what allows him to find pace that other riders can't access. The injury-plagued period from 2020 to 2024, his move from Honda to Gresini, and finally to the factory Ducati team. All of it forged Marquez into a more complete rider. He's not just fast, he's intelligent. He's not just brave, he's strategic. And most importantly, he's patient. If you watch Marquez's races in 2025, you'll realize the pattern Stoner describes is spot on. In Qatar, Thailand, Malaysia, or other races, Marquez often doesn't dominate early on. Sometimes he's even sitting in 4th or 5th. But once the race hits laps 15 to 20, he starts emerging. The final lap, he's the quickest. This is completely different from the 2013 to 2019 Marquez, who often led from the front and dominated or pulled off mad maneuvers on the first lap. Now, he's more mature, more controlled, but still deadly. Stoner even mentions there were weaknesses in Marquez's past that no other rider ever exploited. What were those weaknesses? We don't know. Stoner won't say. But the fact that no one took advantage of them shows just how intimidating Marquez's aura is. Other riders were so focused on viewing Marquez as a threat that they forgot to develop ways to beat him. So there you have it, folks. Marc Marquez's 2 keys to victory according to Casey Stoner: patience with tires and the ability to ride ahead of the electronics. These 2 things sound technical, but their effect on race results is massive. Marquez is no longer just a rider who relies on courage. He's a rider with intelligence and patience at the highest level. Question for you. Now that you know these secrets, do you respect Marquez even more? Or do you reckon other riders should be able to learn from this pattern? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Want to discuss Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, or Ducati's team strategy? Just write your requests and I might make the next video for you. And most importantly, if you found this insight from Casey Stoner valuable, don't be stingy. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your mates who are MotoGP fans. The algorithm is like Marquez's tires. It needs nurturing early on to perform at its best at the end. See you in the next video with even deeper MotoGP content. Cheers!